Hey guys, welcome back to True Crime with Shannon, where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Well, Brian Walsh was in court this morning, and he's now facing unaliving charges in the death of his wife, Anna Walsh. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. And before I get into that, I like to feature a missing persons poster on the channel whenever I can. So let me pull up today's missing persons poster. Today's missing person is out of Brooklyn, New York. This is an 18-year-old female. Her name is Alicia Adelegbe. I apologize. I'm probably saying her last name incorrectly. She's a female, 5'7", 235 pounds, black hair, black eyes. She's black as far as her race is concerned. It states Alicia is an 18-year-old missing child who is believed to be suicidal and may be in need of medical attention. She was last seen on Williams Avenue in Brooklyn, Kings County at 10:10 a.m. on Wednesday, January 18th. So that's today, this morning. Alicia was last seen wearing a black jacket with a fur hood, black sweater, black pants, yellow and red beanie, and wearing multicolored sneakers. She may be in the local area. They ask if you have seen her, please contact the NYC PD Missing Persons Squad at 718-827-3511, or you can call 911. Let's see if you guys who are in New York, specifically in the Brooklyn area, can help bring Alicia the help that she needs and bring her back to her family. Again, this is 18-year-old Alicia, missing in Brooklyn, New York. So again, we're going to be talking about Brian Walsh. His smug look doesn't look so smug the further they get into his charges. And I want to make sure, for those of you who have not seen this, trigger warning, they get pretty detailed, and that's not even everything. I'm pretty sure, I guarantee it. This is just enough to get him locked up for the unaliving charges against his wife. So let's listen to his arraignment from this morning.
Charged on the first day of January 2023 with assault and to beat Anna Walsh with intent to murder that person. They're also charged with interring of a body, did without lawful authority, did willfully dig up or remove human remains. Not guilty, pleas will be entered.
Do you understand those charges, Mr. Walsh?
I do.
We'll hear from the Commonwealth.
Yes, thank you,
Your
Your
Honor,
Honor.
we're not contesting bail or probable cause, so we would ask that you be released.
Thank you, Ms. Minor, but I have to satisfy myself with probable cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Lynn Beeland for the Commonwealth. The defendant is now before the court charged with murder of his wife, Anna Walsh, as well as disinterring of a body. Anna was 39 years old and mother of 3 children, 2, 4, and 6. Anna worked in Washington, D.C., splitting her time weekdays between D.C. during the week and staying in her house in Cohasset, where she lived with the defendant and their 3 kids. On January 4th of 2023, Cohasset police received a call from her Washington, D.C. employee indicating that she was missing. She was due to report to work on January 4th, but did not appear. She had a flight on January 3rd from Logan to D.C., which she did not board. Cohasset police went to their house at Chief Justice Cushing Highway for a well-being check. It was only at this time, when they met with the defendant, that he first reported his wife missing. Defendant stated his wife left the house at approximately 6 a.m. on January 1st, New Year's Day. He stated she took an Uber or a Lyft to go to the airport, that she was returning to D.C. for work. Records were checked and there were no Uber or Lyfts to that house on January 1st. Defendant said he had not spoken to his wife since the early morning hours on New Year's Day. Cohasset police were granted permission to ping on his phone to locate her or her phone. and his phone indicated that it was stationary in the area of the Cohasset house on New Year's Eve until 3:14 a.m. on January 2nd. There were no outgoing calls made at that time, and at 3:14 a.m. on the 2nd, it was turned off. Defendant stated Anna should have been wearing a dress, a black jacket, hunter boots, watch, ring, as well as carrying a Prada purse. Defendant gave a time frame of 6 or 6:10 a.m. on the 1st when he last saw her. What I'd like to do now is just describe his actions on the days from January 1st. Defendant indicated on January 1st at 3 p.m. he did some errands and went to his mother's house in Swampscott, but got lost because he didn't have his phone. He said he knew he was lost when he saw the pirate ship on Route 1. Defendant stayed 15 minutes, then went to Whole Foods and CVS. Surveillance was checked and he did not enter either of those stores. On January 1st, defendant Googled using his son's iPad. Some of his searches are as follows. Keep in mind that the defendant said he left at 6 a.m. At 4:55 a.m. on January 1st, he searched how long before a body starts to smell. At 4:58 a.m., how to stop a body from decomposing. At 5:20 a.m., he searched how to embalm a body. At 5:47 a.m., 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to. At 6:25 a.m. on the 1st, how long for someone to be missing to inherit. At 6:34 a.m. on the 1st, can you throw away body parts? At 9:29 a.m., what does formaldehyde do? At 9:34 a.m. on the 1st, how long does DNA last? At 9:59 a.m., can identification be made on partial remains? At 11:34 a.m., dismemberment and the best ways to dispose of a body. At 11:44, how to clean blood from wooden floor. At 11:56 on the 1st, luminol to detect blood. At 1:08, what happens when you put body parts in ammonia? At 1:21 p.m., is it better to throw crime scene clothes away or wash them? Those were on the January 1st. There was also information gained from the defendant's phone which showed on January 2nd he was at Home Goods in Norwell where he purchased 3 rugs. There were also more Google searches on January 2nd. At 12:45 p.m., hacksaw best tool to dismember. At 1:10 p.m., can you be charged with murder without a body? At 1:14 p.m., can you identify a body with broken teeth? On January 2nd, following those, the defendant was seen on surveillance at the Home Depot in Rockland. In checking the surveillance, the defendant is observed on a security camera pushing a cart. Items included cleaning products, mops, brushes, tape, towel, a Tyvek suit with boot covers, buckets, goggles, baking soda, a hatchet. He had a face mask and rubber gloves on at the time he was pushing the cart in Home Depot. At 5:32, he was seen at the Derby Street in Hingham, now removing the gloves and the mask. Data from his phone also tracked his whereabouts on January 3rd. Locations were traveled at 4:27 on January 3rd to an apartment complex in Abington. Surveillance shows the defendant's Volvo, as well as a male fitting the defendant's appearance, exit a car near the dumpster. He walks to the dumpster carrying garbage bags. He's leaning, and it appears to be heavy as he has to heft it into the dumpster. He walks to the dumpster with the garbage bag and leaves it. On 4:48, he hit another complex in Abington, and at 5:10 p.m., cell phone shows records at another apartment in Brockton. Video shows a party consistent with his appearance and his Volvo. Again, he discarded items in the dumpster. On January 3rd, that same day, at 1:02 p.m., he did some more Google searches. What happens to hair on a dead body? At 1:13 p.m., what is the rate of decomposition of a body found in a plastic bag compared to on a surface in the woods? At 1:20 p.m., can baking soda mask, or make a body smell good. On January 4th, the following day, the defendant went to Home Goods and TJ Maxx. He purchased towels, as well as bath mats and men's clothing. At 4:15 that day, on the 4th, he went to Lowe's, where he purchased squeegees and a trash can. On January 4th, when Cohasset Police went to the house on the well-being check, officers observed his Volvo with seats down and a plastic liner in the back of the car. The next day, a view of the Volvo showed his seats folded down, floor mats with some dirt, and the carpet appeared to show fresh vacuum streaks. When asked about the liner, the defendant said he threw in the trash. Chemists later analyzed the car, and there was present blood in the car. On January 5th, a review of the data from defendant's phone showed his phone traveled at 8 a.m., first to his daycare and then to Swampscott, where his mother resides. The phone traveled to the complex where his mother lives at 9:30 a.m., went for about 5 minutes around the building to the southeast corner. In the southeast corner of that complex is where there was a dumpster. The dumpster was later secured and searched. On January 8th, police and crime scene services searched the house in Cohasset. They found blood in the basement, a knife with the presence of blood. The knife was damaged. A second knife was also found in that basement. In addition, there was heavy-duty, large top plastic liners purchased from that Home Depot trip. As part of the investigation, police checked for activity on honest credit cards, bags, flights, trains. There was no activity since she was last seen on January 1st. Police also tried to track down what happened to the bags that the defendant was seen throwing in the dumpster earlier. This was over in Abington. These bags and what was in them were already picked up and taken to a location for shredding and to be incinerated. By the time police located that, they were already destroyed. However, investigators did secure and search the dumpsters from defendant's mother's complex in Swampscott. It was searched at a transfer station in Peabody. Investigators recovered 10 trash bags. Inside the trash bags, many of these items contained stains consistent with blood, affected lot. Among the items secured were towels, rags, slippers, tape, Tyvek suit, gloves, cleaning agents, carpets, rugs, hunter boots, Prada purse, a COVID-19 vaccine card in the name of Anna Walsh, a hacksaw, a hatchet, and some cutting shears. The purse and boots were described as what Anna was last seen in. A portion of the rug was heavily stained with red-brown stains. The substance was consistent with also having baking soda on it. There was a portion of a necklace consistent with one that Anna had been seen wearing in photos. The State Crime Lab performed testing on certain selected items that were recovered from those trash bags. There was human blood found on them, and then they were sent for DNA testing. The findings are as follows. On the slippers in the interior, Anna and Brian Walsh were contributors to the DNA on those slippers which had blood on them. On the exterior, Anna and Brian Walsh contributed to the DNA found on those slippers. The Tyvek suit. On the interior cuffs, Anna and Brian Walsh contributed to the DNA that was left on them. On the exterior left pant leg, Anna Walsh was contributed to the DNA. On the interior right sleeve, Anna Walsh was a contributor to the DNA that was found on the Tyvek suit. There was tissues which found that Anna Walsh contributed to the DNA. There was one other earlier Google search which would be of note. On December 27th, defendant Googled, what's the best state to divorce from a man? Rather than divorce, it is believed that Brian Walsh dismembered Anna Walsh and discarded her body. The bags were later discarded in Swampscott and contained Anna's property and the items used to clean up, as well as the DNA that was left behind. The Commonwealth is asking that the defendant be held without bail for the murder of his wife.
Thank you, Ms. Peter. Do you wish to be heard at all?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. Defendant will be held without bail pending indictment. Do we have a date for probable cause, or Ms. Beeland, have you reserved time for the grand jury?
Not at this time, but I will. Your Honor, we have a date of February 7th already for the,
February 9th.
Oh, February 9th, I apologize. If we want to put it on for status on that day?
And that's by Zoom, Your Honor, correct?
By Zoom.
Yes,
Do you
thank
want a
you.
status date or probable cause date?
Status date is fine.
Okay, February 9th for status, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, sir, you're held without bail until February 9th, 2023, for a status date.
We're all set. Thank you.
Wow. I've listened to this now a couple times. Unfortunately, I didn't get to listen to it more yet due to being at work. But the amount of forensic evidence, as well as other cell phone evidence and that sort of thing, that they have on Brian is pretty extensive. So let me actually pull up an article and we'll go over a bit of the details of what the prosecutor laid out as the actual documents have not been released as of yet. I'm not sure why they didn't unseal them, but they're stating it might be sealed for 3 months, which is really odd, but we'll see how that goes. So this is Boston 25 News, and Law and Crime also has it pretty extensive as well, but this one here goes into detail about what was said this morning, and they've updated it since, it looks like as of 5:19 Eastern Standard Time, about Brian and the hearing. So let's go through the article real quick because they actually list out some of the things that the prosecutor said, so we can kind of discuss that a bit as well. Brian Walsh dismembered his wife, Anna Walsh, with a hacksaw and disposed of her remains after using his son's iPad to Google the best ways to get rid of a body, among a slew of other incriminating searches, a prosecutor said in court on Wednesday. What the heck? Not only did Brian unalive his wife, Anna, and I'm sorry, I do keep calling her Anna, I believe it's Anna, he apparently dismembered her body. As if we didn't think he was already horrible enough, we find out his alleged crimes are far, far more sinister. And he's, of course, far from any kind of criminal genius because his Google searches really have become a major nail in his coffin here. Brian Walsh, 47, pleaded not guilty in Quincy District Court to a charge of unaliving and improper transport of remains in the death of 39-year-old Anna Walsh of Cohasset. A judge ordered him held without bail. Anna Walsh, a mother of 3, vanished earlier this month. Norfolk District Attorney Michael Morisi announced Tuesday that an unaliving warrant was issued for Brian Walsh in connection with her death. Brian Walsh, under heavy police guard, was seen escorted into the court shortly after 8 a.m. for his 9 a.m. court hearing. While facing a judge, when asked if he understood the charges he faces, he stands accused of assault to beat his wife with intent to unalive her, of interring a body, without lawful authority, and willfully removing human remains. Walsh said, "I do." Yeah. But you notice that smirk is off his face. That smirk we saw when he was initially arrested is gone. He looked a bit smug at the beginning, and man, he sure eyed that prosecutor, that DA, didn't he? And from what I hear, he was eyeing a lot of the media and other folks in that room. In court, Norfolk County Assistant District Attorney Lynn Beeland detailed a methodical, gruesome, and horrific manner in which Walsh allegedly dismembered and then disposed of Anna Walsh's body, and how he used Google to search for information about how to cover up the crime. And I'm actually going to go through an article from the Daily Mail about how Google is just not your friend. It's truly not. Not that he was smart to begin with, but. And just on a side note, I really am already liking D.A. Beeland. She seems to be pretty cool to me. Rather than divorce, it is believed that Brian Walsh dismembered Anna Walsh and then discarded her body, Beeland said during the arraignment. The bags were later discarded in Swampscott and contained Anna's property and the items used to clean up, as well as the DNA that was left behind. Beeland shared a disturbing timeline of repetitive Google searches that Brian Walsh allegedly made using his son's iPad on New Year's Day. He used one of his boys' iPads. I mean, it's like the shock just doesn't end with this guy. He does not care about anybody but himself. He's a con man who's now becoming an unaliver. The guy is he's just such a quality individual, isn't he, guys? It says when Anna was last seen at the Cohasset home, she shared with her husband and their 3 young boys. After the alleged unaliving of Anna, Beeland said Brian Walsh took to the internet and searched for the following things on January 1st. So this was some details from what we heard her talk about in the arraignment. At 4:55 a.m., how long before a body starts to smell? Okay. At 4:58 a.m., how to stop a body from decomposing? I think you might need a really good big freezer, Brian, and I don't think you have one. At 5:20 a.m., how to embalm a body. Because that's something we all can do at home. I'm sure there's many how to embalm your spouse at home articles on the internet. As Beeland read the search phrase in court, Brian Walsh was seen shaking his head. Yeah, I noticed that. He seems, no, there's no way you guys know all this stuff. And he's thinking, how stupid am I? He didn't clear his search history, but even if he did, we'll find out that that doesn't really matter. At 5:47 a.m., 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to. Because that's something you got to do every day. Gee, my roommate, we had this horrible argument and I had to, unalive her. How can I get rid of the body? How do I get rid of it? Because that's another popular search that you're going to see on Yahoo News every morning. At 6:25 a.m., how long for someone to be missing to inherit? Gee, I think Brian wanted her money, because that's really all it's about. He wants her money because initially, remember, he was under house arrest and pending charges for the whole painting situation, and he's also accused of trying to steal from his father's estate. But up till now, he's never done anything violent that we know of. So he's really escalated on this one. At 6:34 a.m., can you throw away body parts? Gee, can I throw them in the trash? In my regular trash? And you think the city will just take them for me? That's just disgusting. At 9:29 a.m., what does formaldehyde do? That's a normal search every day. Now, I will say, as a YouTube true crime creator, it's possible that I have Googled formaldehyde or other things. So please, government, local police, don't just automatically assume most of us are going to unalive someone. Some of us just are really curious. And as a writer, also, I've Googled some really different things, but not how to kill somebody. No. I don't do that. 9:34 a.m. How long does DNA last? Well, that is a good question, though. At 9:59 a.m., can identification be made on partial remains? Brian, I'll give you a quick one on that one without a Google. Yes. At 11:34 a.m., dismemberment and the best ways to dispose of a body. So now he's gone from how to dispose of a body to dismemberment and the best ways to get rid of it once you've dismembered said body. At 11:44 a.m., how to clean blood from wooden floor. So I guess there's wooden floors in their home. At 11:56 a.m., luminol to detect blood. Yeah, they found blood in your house, guy. You really, really, really have to know what you're doing to not find blood with luminol. Heck, we have your friend Brian. Well, he's not your friend, but he's a fellow Brian. Of course, he's spelled with a Y, and he seems to have a little more brain power than you, even though we still think he's kind of a not so good, criminal at this point, allegedly. He's studying criminology, and he's a PhD student, and even he left enough blood behind. So I don't think Brian, that's coined by another creator, so it's not mine. Calling him Brain. I don't think you can make that happen. No, don't think so. At 1:08 p.m., he took a little break. Guess he had some lunch. What happens when you put body parts in ammonia? At 1:21 p.m., is it better to throw crime scene clothes away or wash them? Yeah, that's a normal question, huh? Then we got January 2nd. The prosecutor said Brian Walsh was seen on surveillance video at the Home Goods in Norwalk, where he purchased 3 rugs. So I'm guessing he was trying to replace the rugs that maybe he unalived his wife on, or what have you. They got real messed up in the process, so I better replace them because it looks real funny without him here on the floor. Walsh's Google searches resumed on January 2nd, Beelan said, with the following. At 12:54 p.m., hacksaw, best tool to dismember. Because we all have a hacksaw at home. Now, we don't here at our place, but yeah, I suppose if you do a lot of carpentry and what have you, that would be normal, but I don't see Brian having a hacksaw normally at his house. At 1:10 p.m., can you be charged with unaliving without a body? Let me answer that for you too, Brian. Yes, you can, and you are. At 1:14 p.m., can you identify a body with broken teeth? That's telling, isn't it? Also on January 2nd, Walsh was seen on video at the Home Depot in Rockland wearing a black surgical mask and blue surgical gloves, making a cash transaction. Beelan said surveillance video captured Walsh pushing a cart with cleaning products, mops, brushes, tape, tarp, a tie-back suit with boot covers, buckets, goggles, and baking soda, and a hatchet. Because that's all normal stuff to clean up your house with. I don't even see Brian doing much cleanup whatsoever normally, so not only is this extensive because he spent $450 on all these supplies, but wow. Overboard city, buddy. At 5:32 p.m. on January 2nd, Walsh was seen on Derby Street removing his gloves and mask, Beelan said. Beelan said Walsh took to the internet again on January 3rd with the following searches. Man, he loves his Google. At 1:02 p.m., what happens to hair on a dead body? At 1:13 p.m., what is the rate of decomposition of a body found in a plastic bag compared to on a surface in the woods? Guess he was trying to decide if he wanted to use a plastic bag or just dump it in the woods. At 1:20 p.m., can baking soda make a body smell good? Now that's a very strange one. On January 3rd, using his cell phone, investigators tracked Brian Walsh's whereabouts to Abington and Brockton, Beelan said. At 4:27 p.m. on January 3rd, surveillance video captured Walsh's Volvo and a man fitting his appearance exiting a car near the dumpster at an apartment complex in Abington. He walks to the dumpster carrying a garbage bag. He is leaning and appears to be heavy as he has to heft it into the dumpster, Beelan said. He walks to the dumpster with the garbage bag and leaves it. As sad as this, this is all really sad stuff, guys. I'm not trying to make light of Anna's unaliving whatsoever. It's horrific, and that has to be part of her remains that he was dumping, and it's sick. It's very, very sick and sad. This was some three boys' mother and someone's child. It's just really sad. Minutes later, at 4:48 p.m., Walsh is alleged to have gone to another complex in Abington, and then at 5:10 p.m., cell phone records show his location at another apartment in Brockton, where video captured someone consistent with Walsh's appearance and his Volvo, Beelan said. Again, he discarded items in the dumpster. On January 4th, Brian Walsh also went to a Home Goods and TJ Maxx and purchased towels, bath mats, and men's clothing, Beelan said. That day at 4:15 p.m., he also went to Lowe's and bought squeegees and a trash can. Also on January 4th, police went to the Walsh's home in Cohasset to conduct a well-being check on Anna after her employer reported her missing. So this is a huge clarification. Brian never reported his wife missing. That was her employer. And she clarified that this morning. She clarified it in that police went to the home for a well-being check because her employer asked them to. And that's when Brian said, "Oh, yeah, she's been gone. She's not here." During the course of their investigation, officers observed Brian Walsh's Volvo with the seats down and a plastic liner in the back of the car. The car was later found to have traces of blood, Beelan said. Anna spent New Year's Eve with her husband and 3 kids at their Cohasset home. The prosecutor said her phone turned off at 3:14 a.m. on New Year's Day. Sadly, I think somewhere in there is when she met her demise. She was supposed to go to Logan Airport early New Year's Day around 4:30 a.m. to head to her second residence in Washington, D.C., where she spent weekdays working as a regional general manager for the real estate company Tishman Speyer. Police said Brian first told investigators that she potentially took a rideshare service to Logan. However, police never found any evidence that she made it to the airport, and her cell phone, credit, and debit cards had been inactive since her disappearance. Cohasset police and state police combed the woods around Walsh's home on January 6th and later returned with a search warrant for inside the home less than 48 hours later. Beelan said the search led to the discovery of a blood-covered knife, a second knife, and a heavy-duty large tarp, plastic liners in the basement of the home. Subsequent clues uncovered by investigators led them to the North Shore, where a hacksaw was found at a transfer station in Peabody. Investigators noted that a search of a dumpster taken from his mother's Swampscott apartment complex to the transfer station yielded 10 trash bags with items that had stains consistent with blood. In fact, a lot, Beelan said. Items found included towels, rags, slippers, tape, a tie-back suit, gloves, cleaning agents, carpets, rugs, hunter boots, a Prada purse, a COVID-19 vaccine cart in the name of Anna Walsh, a hacksaw, a hatchet, and some cutting shears. Now that alone is pretty damning. And they have already a lot up till now. The purse and boots were described as what Anna was last seen in, Beelan said. A portion of the rug was heavily stained with red, round stains. The substance was consistent with having baking soda on it. So I don't think that worked, Brian. I really don't. The baking soda thing, I don't think it worked. There was a portion of a necklace consistent with one that Anna had been seen wearing in photos. That's really sad. DNA from both Anna and Brian Walsh was found on the tie-back suit and on the slippers, Beelan said. And how would that have gotten there when he just bought it after she supposedly left for Washington? How is that possible, Brian? It's not. It's truly not. Some other trash bags that Brian Walsh dumped in Abington were incinerated before being found, the prosecutor said. The unaliving charge comes years after Anna Walsh told police in Washington, D.C. that Brian Walsh had threatened to unalive her. Yeah, I heard that and I hadn't reported it here yet, but I really don't know why after all that she still married the guy, but you can't understand everybody's thoughts and stuff on that. Brian Walsh has been housed at the Norfolk County House of Correction since pleading not guilty last week to charges he misled law enforcement officials who had been working tirelessly to track down the whereabouts of his wife. He had also been on house arrest for stealing and attempting to sell 2 fake Andy Warhol paintings on eBay. So, this is a very, very, very sad situation. And I think they got him, use the term, but dead to rights. I think, sadly, they're not going to find, probably, if they've even found any more of her possible remains, I don't think they're going to find them. Because, like they said, they were incinerated. And I think, sadly, that was what happened to the rest of her remains. And, but they've got a lot of evidence. And I think it's going to truly, truly be enough. They've got DNA. They've got, records of his Google searches. They've got where he's been. They've got surveillance. I mean, honestly, the dude is screwed. He truly, truly is. So I'm just going to kind of go over a bit of this article from the Daily Mail. Sometimes they have some really interesting stuff. And this one here, it was really interesting to me. And I would love to talk to somebody more about this whole Google search stuff and legalities and that sort of thing. But I'm going to kind of just go over the basics here and let you guys read the article if you'd like, because I'll include that in the information of the video. As Brian Walsh's grisly Google searches are revealed, how you can never really delete your internet history as keyword warrants can force the tech giant to identify users looking up incriminating search terms. So again, you're just never private. Big Brother is always watching. All right, so let me just sift through here and give you guys the gist of the whole thing. Not only does Google retain your information, but law enforcement can compel tech companies to turn over the data with warrants. This goes a step further with controversial keyword and geofence warrants, where the process operates in reverse. Police can request Google find users who have been made particular searches or have been in a certain location to hone in on suspects. Google has come under pressure from internet privacy campaigners, and in 2020, the tech giant CEO announced an auto-delete feature to purge search and location data after 18 months. Previously, the information was retained indefinitely. The auto-delete feature was applied as the default setting across all new Google accounts. However, it has to be activated by existing users. So if you've had a Google account since pre-2020 when this was made the new way, you have to go into your Google preferences and settings and activate it if you want it to be a part of your account. Despite these protections, law enforcement can compel tech giants like Google to release searches, and they can use keyword warrants, which alert the authorities if specific search terms are being used. Keyword and geofence warrants are particularly controversial over fears that the dragnet measures provides the authorities with disproportionate power. Critics argue that the warrants put innocent people at risk of arrest, as in a case of a Florida man who was embroiled in a 2019 burglary probe after riding his bike past the crime scene. And the article goes over how he was accused, and if you're interested in that, please check it out. But I'm just going to read the gist of this whole warrant situation and keyword searches and all that sort of thing here. How keyword warrants work. Sweeping practice draws concerns over privacy. The handful of keyword warrants that have been made public show how the government uses the tactic to seek unknown suspects. First, federal investigators apply to the courts for a warrant seeking information from Google on a specific set of search terms, such as the name or address of a victim. In addition to the specific terms, the request usually includes a specific date range and sometimes a specific geographical area. If the court grants the order, the investigators then demand that Google or other search engines turn over the IP addresses and account information for any user whose search meets the perimeter. The warrants are unusual in that rather than seeking information about a specific suspect, they seek sweeping information that can be used to generate a list of suspects for further investigation. So while they're not searching for John Smith, they're going to search for whoever matches their search criteria. Critics say it amounts to a, quote, fishing expedition by investigators that could implicate innocent people in serious crimes. But defenders of the practice say that the warrants are narrowly tailored to target potential criminals, a related practice known as geofencing, in which investigators seek account information for any mobile devices within a specific area at a specific time. So, I believe all this stuff has been used in Brian Walsh's case, and honestly, his searches are pretty. He's pretty guilty, and I don't think they had to do a whole lot of guessing with who might be their guy or girl or what have you, or their person. I think that was pretty obvious. Now, related, I think that a lot of these searches and new technology was used for the other Brian Kohlberger, the alleged unaliver of the Idaho 4. So while I think it's very, very beneficial in most cases, I am curious about the rate of how often this search, these warrants, this new technology ends up, picking, the wrong person. And the wrong person is wrongly accused and spends time in jail and or is convicted. But I would hope they'd have more, evidence to prove their innocence. But regardless, I am curious about the actual data on that. And if anyone knows it, please let me know in the comments. I'm definitely curious. But I think defining it well, I think if it's worked properly, I would think it's more beneficial than not. So, but what do you think? Let me know in the comments on what you think of all that. We all know Big Brother's out there. If you have a cell phone and you're searching on Google or whatever, and you're searching, you're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever you're going on to talk to your friends and be social, you're being tracked. I mean, heck, all you got to do is mention you're looking for, a particular object, and all of a sudden you're getting ads like crazy for that item. So we know we're being listened to and watched, so I don't think that should be a surprise to anyone, which is why I'm kind of wondering why the guy on the screen was so dopey in that he didn't think they would figure out that he was searching for all these terms, and kind of related to the fact of your wife is missing. And then of course they found all the blood and all the stuff in his house. So yeah, I feel it's just a chain of horrible acts that he's just not a good criminal. He's really not. He's just not a good criminal. All right, guys, I appreciate you checking out the video. And if you like the content, please hit that like button, that thumbs up on your way out. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I would appreciate it if you would. I'm about to hit that 1K. I might hit it tonight or tomorrow. And I am so, so appreciative to every single one of you guys who have helped share the channel and who have been supportive of me this whole time. It's been about a year that I've been here on the YouTube, and I love y'all. And it's been a growing experience, and I'm still growing every single day. So with that said and done, that's going to be it for this particular video. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and most of all, stay safe.